Hi, this is Tresta Danielle with the Call to Learn conference, and I have Danielle Huff with us here today. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I appreciate you. It's exciting. I'm excited to hear your story. So tell us about who you are first, and then where you're from, and how you met your husband, that type of thing.
Oh, fun. Well, my name is Danielle Huff, as she said, and I am from all over the world. On my Facebook profile, it says I'm from Earth.
Awesome.
I think it's Texas or something.
Oh.
So every now and then people will say, "Oh, you're from Texas?" I'm like, "No, I was trying to say Earth." That's it. There happens to be an Earth, Texas, though. And my father was a diplomat, so I grew up moving around, living all over the world, mostly in Europe, a little bit in South America and Brazil.
Wow.
And
that's pretty cool.
I wanted to marry somebody who had lived in several different places, just like I had. I felt like he wouldn't understand me otherwise, because that's such a big part of me. And when I met my husband, I was very much interested right away. And he was so friendly and so nice. And I kind of followed him around a lot. Poor guy. Now I feel bad for him. But he took me into his living room one day, and he said something like, "You know what, Danielle, I just need you to lay off a little bit." And I had promised my bishop that I would do something for Andy every single day. So that's one reason I was constantly, if anybody gave me brownies, they would go straight to him. If I got anything, I would take it to Andy, because I was busy. I didn't have a lot of time to be baking stuff and who knows what. So I just gave him everything I had. I was just always over there, and poor guy, he was like, "Really?" So he asked me, lay off. And this was a Thursday. And the next day I had promised my roommate that my roommate and I had agreed that she would take his roommate out to preference, or she would ask his roommate out to preference, and I would ask Andy to preference.
Okay.
And I came home after that, and I said, we can't go forward with our plans. And she's Portuguese, very strong-willed, and said, "Oh no, we agreed, you committed, and we're asking them out." And I thought, okay, well, he probably knows. I mean, he knows her, and he'll probably guess this is what happened. So I'm just gonna. I intended to honor his wishes, but we're one more date here. We're gonna ask these two young men to preference. So we went to preference, and that's where it happened. I think I was already kind of in love, but that was where he thought, I kind of like this.
Awesome. So where was he from? Like, where did he travel from? Obviously,
he grew up he was in Saudi Arabia for 9 years. Then he was in Mexico City, and then in Russia.
Okay.
And so
that's cool.
He actually proposed to me in Russia on Red Square.
Oh my goodness.
It was very romantic and very cold.
Well, yeah.
And my dad is still looking for the surveillance tape of that night.
That's awesome.
So he's cute.
That's cool.
So, yeah.
Neat. Okay, so where did you go from there? Did you travel the world still?
Yes. So after we got married, we finished our schooling at BYU, and then I got a job in Hungary. And so we moved to Hungary, and then we moved to Italy. This is before we had children, and it was tremendous. It was a wonderful time.
Yeah.
Then we came back to Utah. He ended up having a stroke. He had strong feelings that he needed to come back. And so he did, and he had the stroke, which of course has profoundly affected our lives in good ways and bad. But the bad, isn't it interesting? It turns good.
Yeah.
You know, what is traditionally viewed as bad strengthens us.
That's true.
And gives us opportunities that we wouldn't have otherwise.
Yeah. So true. So true. So then you had children?
Yes, it took us a long time to have children.
Yeah.
We tried for 7 years before we got our oldest. And during that time, I observed Andy's uncle and his wife were homeschooling their kids.
Oh, okay.
And they were just the nicest kids and so intelligent. And I thought, oh, I don't know, maybe I considered homeschooling, but I wasn't really committed. I didn't have my children and know my children yet.
Yeah.
So, but that was kind of where I was first introduced to it. They were in California, and I would go on field trips with them.
Oh, fun.
And I love field trips. And when I was living in Belgium, I went to a school where we had week-long field trips every year. And we learned about the Italian Renaissance in Florence, and we learned about World War II and the D-Day invasion on the beaches of Normandy. And it was amazing. I went to Mont Saint-Michel. There's so many beautiful things that happened from the school. And we traveled as a family too. So that's very important to me.
Very nice. Very nice. So how many children do you have?
I have 3 beautiful children.
Okay.
They're so great.
Girls, boys?
2 boys and 1 girl. She's in the middle. She's not very happy about being in the middle. but I think the boys might even say she rules the roost.
Understand.
They often talk about having more than one mother. So she's a lot of fun.
When you had your children and you had already recognized that you probably wanted to homeschool, was it an easy transition for you to homeschool?
Well, it was interesting. My husband was teaching at a local charter school, and we loved what they stood for. It was going to be a great thing, and we had talked our youngest, or our oldest, I should say, into, you're going to go to daddy's school, and this is how it's all going to work. And just some things ended up happening at the school that I didn't love. They were trying to save money, and you have to do it somehow. But some of the teachers specifically the kindergarten teacher that I wanted him to have, ended up being gone, and they hired all new young teachers who were cheaper, and they spent their money in other places. And I don't want to be critical exactly, but it caused me to take a look and go, wait a second, is this what I really want to do? And my husband didn't feel comfortable teaching there anymore, and so it wasn't daddy's school anymore. And that's how we started. At the same time, my visiting teacher was homeschooling. And do you remember the story I told you about my husband and his roommate? So the roommate was now married to not the one we went on a date with, but somebody else.
Okay.
And they together were homeschooling. And so I started hearing about their journeys, both my visiting teacher and this other man and his wife and family. And I felt like, I think I can do this. Awesome. And I had miraculously, I had a lot of support as I started, because I didn't know a blessed thing. And it was just me going, okay, let's see how this goes. And for a long time, I homeschooled kind of with one foot in, one foot out, thinking if anything happens to me, I want my children to be on track with whatever. Now I think, on track with what? They're advanced in their own ways. And if they don't know the 3 things that were taught in public school, they'll learn them. It's okay. Yeah. But it's just changed how we view things. And travel is important to me. Learning by experience is important. And I'm not saying they don't know their times tables. That's also important. Don't think for 1 minute that we're not doing a lot of math, but I love it. I love it so much.
Very cool. So if there was a tip that you would give brand new homeschool mothers or mothers that were thinking about it, what tip would you give?
Do you remember Apollo, the Greek god, had a temple? We had more than one, but one at Delphi, and he got himself an oracle, as the legend says. So the Oracle of Delphi became very important in Greek. I think it still is in Greek mythology and Greek culture. And what the Oracle of Delphi says is, know thyself. And I love that, because I feel like that is the number one thing you can do. Don't feel like you have to follow someone else's plan. It's your homeschool. It's your family. It doesn't have to look like school. It can. That's not wrong. But know thyself. Know what you want to do.
I love that. That's great advice.
Thank you.
All right. Is there anything else you would say to an audience of homeschoolers?
Wow, I have so much, but then I'm a talker. You'll find friends. Be patient with yourself. Be kind to yourself and your children. Be patient to them. I go through different ways of recording what we've learned only because every now and then I'll have these feelings like, oh my goodness, we haven't done anything. Look at them. They're just reading random books. Wait, they're reading. Let's look at this book. Oh, that's okay. And I have to kind of regroup and look, well, what have we done? And when I can look back a little bit, it doesn't have to be crazy, copious notes of what you're doing. But when I can look back a little bit and go, wow, look at what they've learned. Look at what they've done. It helps.
That's good. That's awesome. Well, Danielle, thank you. Thank you for sharing your story. And
Thank you so much.
We appreciate you being here.
Thank you.
Yep.
To be notified of our newest YouTube videos, be sure to click the subscribe button here. Head over to our new website for the latest gifts and promotions. For more videos like this one, click this playlist here.